What's up, guys? I'm Chris Spags here, back with another Four Corners video for today's 15-game MLB main slate, courtesy of Awesemo.com. With every team in baseball at your fingertips, you're going to have a lot of options to choose from, so let's start it out right. Please like the video, and if you want to win a free month of Awesemo Plus, also comment your double dong pick down below. Yesterday, we had a bunch of guys who guessed correctly down in the comments, so please join them at the pay window today. Right now, like the video and comment your double dong pick for your chance to win that free month of Awesemo Plus. But for now, let's get on to the top pitchers on today's slate, and Zach Wheeler going against Miami should be the top option industry-wide. Wheeler gets 3.3 implied runs against them, and he's expected to be the number one owned pitcher on DraftKings with 39%, on FanDuel 29%, and on Yahoo with 61%. Wheeler has been solid with a 1.2 whip and a 3.8 xFIP, so even though the 26% K rate that he brings is a bit low for his price tag, Miami and their 126 ISO and 75 WRC plus versus right-hand pitching seem unlikely to blow him up. Sometimes you have to pay a premium for safety, and it does seem like that's the situation here with Wheeler, a guy whose strikeout upside is not high enough for what you're usually getting at that price tag, but still a nice spot here overall going against the Miami team who really can't hit. Zach Greinke versus Colorado should also find some ownership with 3.2 implied runs against him, which are a slate low. Greinke will be the number 2 owned on DraftKings with 20% and on FanDuel with 11%, while he'll be number 4 owned on Yahoo with 18%. Greinke's low 1 whip and 3.7 xFIP with just a 2.7% home run rate are appealing, but his 24% K rate may limit his upside versus a Colorado team was just a 23.1% K rate versus right-hand pitching. We saw what Aaron Sanchez did in his first start for the Astros, throwing 6 innings and no-hit ball. Could be a similar situation here for Greinke, a guy who's already been good at limiting damage, and maybe he could tap into some more strikeout upside than he's shown so far. And Clayton Kershaw versus St. Louis will also find some ownership today with 3.3 implied runs against him. Kershaw will be number 2 owned on FanDuel with 11% and on Yahoo 29%, while he'll be less owned on DraftKings. Much like the other top pitchers, Kershaw limits damage well with a 1.1 whip and 3.6 xFIP, but his 25% K rate seems not worth his lofty price tag, with St. Louis under league average with just a 21.5% K rate versus left-hand pitching. Given his price tag, I think I'd be the least into Kershaw out of this trio. He still looks like a fine enough play, but the Cardinals have been hitting better, and Kershaw, again, the strikeout upside not as high as you want for as sky high as his price is across the industry. On to our next corner, the top stacks on the slate. Milwaukee stack versus Steven Brault will be popular again. Milwaukee gets 5.4 implied runs. They project for top ownership again, though Brault limits damage far better than Dario Agrazal yesterday with just a 142 ISO and 2.2% on run rate allowed. Brault's 1.6 whip and 5.4 xFIP can offer some production, but with his ability to limit power and a less potent Milwaukee lineup versus left-hand pitching, this seems like an overowned spot for Milwaukee today. I never really have an issue with Milwaukee given the big power they have, but if they are going to be top owned again, this spot is not as good as it was yesterday versus Agrazal, and even though they can get to Brault, it seems like a much less likely outcome for them to have a big full stack production day. A Cincinnati stack versus Jose Suarez will also be popular today with 5.2 implied runs for them. Suarez has been smoked by right-handed batters with a 1.9 whip, a 7.1 xFIP, and a 257 ISO allowed. Positive hitting factors in Cincinnati's projected lineup with a 122 WRC plus and 349 on base percentage versus left-hand pitching can be a potent mix for top stack potential. Suarez has actually been pretty good versus lefties, but this righty-heavy Cincinnati lineup, it's a nice spot to go to them today, and there's one guy in particular I like enough who I'll mention in the one-off section a little bit later on. And a San Diego stack versus Wade LeBlanc should also be popular today with just 4.8 implied runs for them. LeBlanc allows a 193 ISO overall with just a 17% K rate, so San Diego will have a shot to create runs in this spot. Fernando Tatis Jr., Will Myers, Manny Machado, and Hunter Renfroe were all over a 121 WRC plus versus left-hand pitching, and they project for decently high ownership despite the low-ish team total here. I don't mind San Diego because this does seem like a spot where they should be able to put up some runs against Wade LeBlanc, but if they're going to be highly owned, I'd be much more inclined for mini stacks or one-offs and hope to capture that power that they have. Now on to our next corner, the lower owned options on today's slate, and a Boston stack versus Jacob Junis is one that interests me. Boston gets 6.1 implied runs, and Junis has been more middling than bad with a 1.4 whip and a 4.6 xFIP this year, but Boston's quality hitting versus right-hand pitching is appealing. Every hitter in Boston's projected lineup besides Sandy Leon is above a 100 WRC plus versus right-hand pitching. And if Junis gets blown up, a bad Kansas City bullpen with a 1.5 whip is behind him. Boston's been down a bit over the last few weeks, having team meetings trying to get things back on track. This is a decent spot for them to do so, even though Junis, again, not as bad as people may think based on the longer-term track record that people remember. And I'm willing to go to Asher Wojciechowski once again versus the Yankees, despite the 6.1 implied run total against him. Woj's strikeout ability has held up with a 29.6% K rate, but he continues to struggle with power, especially versus left-handed batters with a 310 ISO allowed to that side of the plate. With decent ownership expected for the Yankees, but mostly middling lefty hitters, if Woj can hold them off at a cheap price with low ownership, his strikeouts can balance out the power that he's destined to give up. Woj has had shockingly good strikeout stuff, but he's also been getting barreled as much as any pitcher in Major League Baseball. It's a tough spot to trust him, and I wouldn't have a ton of ownership, but I think going against the high-owned Yankee stack with Woj is an appealing move. And a Cleveland stack versus Ariel Hirado interests me with 6.2 implied runs for them, which are a slate high. Hirado's another pitcher who's been just mad with a 1.4 whip and a 17% K rate, while Cleveland's projected lineup has a 210 ISO and an under league average 20% K rate versus right-hand pitching. Yasiel Puig is the only one who projects for ownership in a game with some rain concerns that could keep the ownership down if it looks like it's going to play. The rain here is a bit of a risk, but if it keeps the ownership down and it looks like the game's going to play, people already don't own Cleveland enough, and I think they won't get there as much as they should going against the guy in Gerardo, seems due to give up more production than he has so far. And this is going to tell you what kind of pitching slate it is. I'm willing to go to Drew Verhagen at the White Sox today, despite the 5 implied runs against him. To be clear, Verhagen has been hideous in 2019 with a 2.8 whip and a 7.4 xFIP, but he was less bad going back to last season with a 4.9 xFIP and a 21% K rate. With no hitters above a 100 WRC plus versus right-hand pitching in the White Sox projected lineup, Verhagen can be an interesting value play who's due for some positive regression based upon his longer-term sample size. Much like Woj, I wouldn't have a ton of Verhagen, but I do think the spot versus the White Sox is as good as one as he's going to get to try to get back to his numbers on the longer-term sample size going back to last year. And now on to our last corner of the one-offs, and Eugenio Suarez going against some probably not related Jose Suarez jumps out to me. Eugenio has a 257 ISO and a 151 WRC plus, as well as 52% hard contact generated, with Jose allowing a 1.9 whip and 7.1 xFIP to right-handed batters, as well as a 257 ISO. It's kind of odd that the guys named Suarez are both giving up and getting a 257 ISO, but it is a nice spot for Eugenio Suarez in a positive hitting park. And Didi Gregorius versus Asher Wojciechowski is a one-off I would consider today. With Woj's poor 6.6 xFIP and 310 ISO allowed to left-handed batters, Didi's 235 ISO with a low 12.5% K rate can hang in there and cause issues. Even though I will be playing some Woj, I think you have to consider both sides of the equation with the power that he gives up. Didi's in a prime spot to take advantage, especially because he won't get struck out. And Nico Goodrum versus Hector Santiago interests me as a value play. Goodrum is at a reasonable price with a 134 WRC plus versus left-hand pitching, while Santiago's been bad this year with a 1.9 whip and 7.5 xFIP allowed. It's a pretty high team total for Detroit today, so I don't mind going to this spot here. I think mini stacks or one-offs of a guy like Goodrum or Miguel Cabrera could be the move today against the guy in Santiago who hasn't shown much this year. So there you have it. Those are my thoughts on this exhausting 15-game main slate. So right now, please like the video, and if you want to win that free month of Osmo Plus, comment your double dong pick down below. Yesterday's Four Corners thumbnail cover boy Christian Yelich went double dong along with Javi Baez, and those were the guys guessed correctly in the comments by these 4 folks right here. We got Rich Hart, Zachary Davis, Joe Raimondi, and CJ the Great. Congratulations, guys. You were all extremely talented and smart, so good job by you. Unfortunately, only one of you can win that free month of Osmo Plus, and the winner is Joe Raimondi, so email me, Joe, at chris@osmo.com to collect your prize. And for everybody else, if you want to join these guys in the pay window, right now, like the video and comment your double dong pick down below. And if you don't want to play the soul-wrenching game that is trying to pick a double dong correctly, you can also use this promo code SWITCH and HEDGE for half off your first month of Osmo Plus. Get all the ownership projections, the player projections, the deep dive column, the lineup builder tool, the top stacks tool, a million different things that'll help you make better MLB DFS lineups every single day. So use that promo code SWITCH and HEDGE right now for half off your first month of Osmo Plus. Go follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Spags. I'm here for you guys every single day, and also I'm bleeding from my ears thinking about this 15-game slate so early in the morning. So right now, go check me out on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Spags. I'll be on DK Lives, The Sweat, later today, so check me out on there for more baseball thoughts as we get up closer to lock. But also, I'll be back tomorrow with another Four Corners video, so thank you guys for watching, and of course, good luck.